Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood, feeling blessed.
Alrighty, let's continue on with this lesson. 6.2.5, day 2, problems. What number problem was this anyway? I can't remember. I think it was 103. Problem 103, D and E. Okay, so go ahead. We're going to do the same thing now that we did yesterday in problem C. Go ahead and read through the problem and set everything up according to the 5D process. Check it and be prepared to declare your answer, and then unpause when you're ready to see the answers. It should be very, very quick. This video anyway, not necessarily the work you have to do. All right, I'll see you in a little bit after you get all your work done. All right, so this is a little bit trickier because it says, Pennsylvania is being compared to Oregon, and then Florida is being compared to Pennsylvania, and which one is going to be our X? Let's read through this. It says most states in the United States are divided into counties. Some are very large while some are very small. Different states have different numbers of counties. So Pennsylvania has 5 less than twice as many counties as Oregon. So at first glance, I want to make Oregon my X, and then take Pennsylvania and say 5 less than 2X. Then it says Florida has 1 less county than Pennsylvania. So how are we going to negotiate that? Well, I'm going to stick with what I wanted to do. I'm going to make Oregon my X. And then I'm going to make Pennsylvania 2X minus 5, right? 5 less than twice the number in Oregon. So you double that and take away 5. But now Florida has 1 less county than Pennsylvania. So a common mistake students are going to make, they're going to say X minus 1, forgetting that Florida is not being compared to Oregon. Oregon is your X. It's being compared to Pennsylvania. So what we need to do is take your Pennsylvania quantity and subtract 1 away from that. So that's going to become 2X minus 6, right? Because -5 minus 1 is the same as -5 plus a -1. And don't mind the fact that I've got parentheses in here. I'm just using the parentheses to show you what Pennsylvania was, okay? So we're going to write Pennsylvania as 2X minus 5, and Florida as 2X minus 6, and Oregon would be X. And the grand total, we know from here, it says 169, so we're going to make all that equal to 169. So let's go ahead and combine like terms. 1X plus 2X's plus 2X's is 5X's, and -5 plus -6 is -9. So 5X minus 11 equals 169 is the simplified equation before we begin removing or adding balanced sets. Now, this one we have to add balanced sets because we got 5X minus 11 was 169. So we want to know what 5X's were equal to before we took 11 away. So let's add that 11 back in, and you get 169 plus 11 is 180. 5X's equals 180. So now, what do we multiply times 5 to give you 180? We'll take 180 divided by 5, and you should have gotten 36. So this is telling us that Oregon has 36 counties. Pennsylvania has 5 less than twice that number, so we better double that first. 72 minus 5 gives you 67, and now it's going to be a little bit easier to figure out Florida because we know what Pennsylvania has. Florida has 1 less county than Pennsylvania, so if Pennsylvania is 67, this would have 66. Add all those together. What do you get? You get 169, right? 12 and 7 makes 19. Carry the 1, that's going to be 4, 10, 16, that's 169. So we agree with this answer because it checks out. So we can declare for all 3 states, Oregon has 36 counties, Pennsylvania has 67 counties, and Florida has 66. All right, the last problem. This one's a little bit tricky, okay? It's wordy and it's weird. There's a map right here. So I'm going to go ahead and help you with highlighting portion. First, let's read it for familiarity. Then let's highlight, And I'm going to correspond highlighting over here with color coordinate it with the distance on the train map over here. So it says a train from Washington, D.C. to Chicago. Here's my Midwestern accent that just came out. Stops first in Pittsburgh and then in Cleveland. The distance from Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh is 30 miles less than twice the distance from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. The distance from Cleveland to Chicago is 220 miles more than the distance from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. So, okay, now I got to finish reading. If the entire train ride from Washington, D.C. to Chicago, Illinois is 710 miles, how far is the train ride from Cleveland to Chicago? All right, highlighter time. It says here the distance from Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh, that is from here to here, is 30 miles less than twice the distance from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. So that's from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. So 30 miles less than twice means we're going to have to double this, then subtract 30 for Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh. And then the distance from Cleveland to Chicago is 220 miles more than the distance from Pittsburgh to Cleveland. So this part is nice. It appears as if both this, oh, I didn't highlight this. Let me highlight this. No, wrong color. This is the color from Chicago to Cleveland, Cleveland to Chicago. So it looks like this distance is compared to Pittsburgh to Cleveland, and this distance is compared to Pittsburgh to Cleveland. So I think we can make Pittsburgh to Cleveland our x. Okay. So you go from there. Let's make Pittsburgh to Cleveland the x, and then you use your definitions to figure out the distance here, set it up as an equation, work through and solve for x, then check your definitions and decide if you've got the correct numbers based on your definitions, and then declare the answer. What was the last piece of information? 700 is the total, or 710 is the total, and all we're trying to figure out here is the distance from Cleveland to Chicago. That's what we're going to declare. Okay, go ahead and pause and work through that, and then stop. What am I doing? Oh, that's what I'm doing. And then whatever. All right, blah, 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 blah. You know what to do by now. Bye. All right, are you done yet? If not, you better pause and get started. Okay, I'm back. If you're not done by now, you're not doing it. So, Pittsburgh to Cleveland was x, which means that Washington, D.C., which was 30 less than twice the distance between Pittsburgh and Cleveland, would be 2x minus 30. And then the distance from Cleveland to Chicago was 220 miles more than the distance, from Pittsburgh to Cleveland, so that would be x plus 220. And then, of course, the total is 710 miles. So let's go ahead and set this up. X plus 2x minus 30 plus x plus 220 has to equal 710. How many total x's are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. And then negative 30 and 220 make 190. So you get 4x plus 190 equals 710. Let's take away 190 from each side because we want to find out what the 4x's were equal to before we added in the 190. So 710 minus 190 is 520. And then let's take 520 and divide it by 4, because 4 times x is 520. So 520 divided by 4 will tell you what x is equal to. And 520 divided by 4 is equal to 130. So we believe that the distance x between Pittsburgh and Cleveland is 130 miles. To make sure that this is correct, we will double that number and then subtract away 30. That would be 260 minus 30 is 230. And then we'll take, we'll take this distance here, 130 plus 220, that is 350. When you add those together, what do you get? 130 plus 230 is 360, and 360 plus 350 is 710. we've got everything correct. Now we can go ahead and declare our answer. The train ride from Cleveland to Chicago must be this number right there. It is 350 miles, so we will declare that as our answer. Oh, did I not draw a nice box around my answer? Can't believe I would do something like that. There it is right there. Bring our answer with a box around it. All right, that is it. We have now become experts, hopefully, at problem solving using the 5D process and integrating algebraic reasoning into the process to make it as efficient as possible. Knowing that some algebra problems are still a little bit complicated, so if you needed to do the guess and check, you could still do the guess and check. That is never a problem. I just want you to be able to get your work done a little bit faster. Using algebra is the best way to do that, the most efficient way to do that. All right, so let's move on. Let's do a check for understanding and see how well you can do this on an assessment, and then you will be ready for the upcoming test. All right, take care. Bye. Look how short that was. That was fantastic. Bye.
Hey, feeling good.